The moment I pushed publish on my AI video last year, new thoughts started popping into my head regarding AI and sign languages. This video presents 6 more reasons AI will struggle with sign languages. Most tech articles you see say something like AI knows sign language, or AI ring, AI gloves are capable of understanding its user's sign language, or robot capable of signing. But if you read the article more in depth, you realize it's talking about finger spelling and not actual signing in general, not actual sign language, just a glove that understands finger spelling. Now, maybe you're thinking, but isn't finger spelling sign language though? Yes, but it's like if you were to speak English only with letters, spelling each word HOWYOUDOING question mark. Is that English? Is that speaking English? No, that's just letters. Same idea. Finger spelling is not equal to sign language. But a lot of people think, I know how to fingerspell, which means I know how to sign. Not quite. And a lot of people who are building these AI technologies, the rings, the gloves, they don't know sign. They might be able to fingerspell a bit. I've watched them, and often they can barely fingerspell. They don't know sign. They don't know how to fingerspell really yet, and yet they're the ones trying to teach AI how to sign. Now, suppose these rings and gloves do figure out how to sign. Let's just suppose. As I mentioned in my previous video, understand that ASL signs, hand shapes, movements all have meaning. But there are so many more ways to show meaning in sign. For example, facial expressions. You can be signing along, but if you change one facial expression, the meaning completely changes. Remember back in the day when we would text without emojis? You know what emojis are, like the faces with all the facial expressions? What happened? Misunderstandings right and left because you had to try to discern. You didn't know if what they texted was funny, a joke, serious, sarcastic. It was just really hard to tell. That's what AI is doing when it's only focused on the signs without the facial expressions and all these other parameters. A ring or a glove is not going to include that information. For example, this sign with 2 facial expressions or this sign with 2 facial expressions have the same hand shape, the same sign, the same movement, but different meanings. Facial expressions, that's just one of many tiny nuances that can completely change meaning. Others, the weight of the sign. Let me give you an example of what that is. I can sign hard like this, as in, wow, that homework was hard. Compare that with signing it like this. The signs themselves are the same, but I'm putting a different weight into the second to show, I'm so sorry. Wow, you are going through so much. So, a funny example. I remember back in the day, I was chatting with a woman, a mom, a deaf mom, and as we were chatting, her kid kept coming up to us again and again saying, hey, mom, mom, hey, mom. Her kid was deaf too. Mom, mom, hey, mom. The two of us tried to keep chatting, but it was a struggle. So the mom turned to her kid and told him to stop. She said, finish, like this, meaning stop interrupting. Anyways, we continue with our conversation, but the kid keeps coming back and back again and again. Hey, mom, 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 mom. And each time the mom would sign finish bigger and bigger with increasing frustration. And finally, she had had enough. And I watched this mom turn to her kid and sign finish like this. Hardly a movement. And what did the kid do? He shut up immediately and slunk off. So the mom had been signing bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was finally when she was at the end of her rope that she signed it like this. Just the tiniest movement. But the weight behind the sign communicated so much more. Third, speed is another nuance, whether a sign is slow or fast. For example, this sign can mean sometimes, or it can mean every now and then, or It can mean rarely. These are all the same sign, but with different nuances depending on the size of the sign. Fourth, and this is a fun one, palm orientation changes meaning. For example, ready for this? Good, bad. Good, the palm orientation is facing up. Bad, the palm turns to face out. The palm orientation faces down. These signs are opposites, just like the signs for I know and I don't know. It's just a palm orientation difference. Fifth, location, i.e., where it's signed on the body. For example, this sign by my head means terrible, while this sign at the shoulder means Chile. Even if the first four parameters are the same, if the fifth one is different, the meaning is completely different. So maybe AI could come to understand the second nuance and the fifth nuance. But remember, these are all happening at the same time. They're all influencing each other. And that is something that AI is going to struggle to capture all that visual information at the same time. These 5 points lead to another thing that I think AI just won't understand for many, many years. And just a quick reminder to subscribe for my channel. Thanks. Remember the fifth nuance, location, and where a sign is located on the body? Maybe you're thinking, well, that'll be easy for AI to pick up. And you're right. AI could learn that this sign here at my chin means cute, while this away from my body means haha. This means water, and this means weather. Over time, it can figure out where the signs are on the body and in relation to the head. Like girl is signed at the chin, the letter A is signed out here, Adam is signed here at the head. So yes, it could figure out where a sign is located, mapping it out. The face is here, so girl is signed here, that makes sense, and Adam is signed up here, and A is out here. It could figure those out. But one big problem. Do signs' locations stay in the same place? Nope. They move all around. They change locations depending on accent, style, age of the signer, when someone picked up a sign language. So maybe you sign, I don't know, up here at the forehead, but I sign it down here by the cheekbone. Maybe, like in a car, if you're driving, I would sign it way out here in front of me so that as you're driving, you can see it in your peripheral vision. Or maybe I'll sign it like this because I'm whispering. Wait, are you thinking, how do you whisper in sign? Yes, you can whisper in sign. How? Really small in front of your chest so you can block your hand so no one else can see what you're signing. Typically, you sign in a box about this big. If you want to have a private conversation, however, this box shrinks down so that it's just about this big in front of your chest. So this is where the head is, and this is where the waist is relatively. So I don't know, which is normally signed up here, becomes I don't know down here. I don't know. And if you see a deaf baby signing, it means their parents have been signing with them, and they'll try to copy their parents' signing. And they'll even try to fingerspell, moving their little fingers like this. Now, can an 8-month-old baby or a 3-year-old toddler actually fingerspell? Of course not. No, they can't, just like hearing babies can't spell. So what are the babies actually doing when they fingerspell? They're copying the shape of a fingerspelled word. For example, fingerspelling the name William would maybe be this. Maybe they've been able to spot a letter here and there, but really they're copying the shape. The same thing happens with signs. For example, the sign for bathroom becomes this or this because they can't form a T shape. A baby can't sign that. A toddler can't sign it. So AI would struggle to understand a kid signing. It just can't do it. But to be fair, it happens the same with hearing kids. They speak and AI really has a hard time understanding them, right? But another physical adaptation to signs is if a signer is cold, they're going to struggle to fingerspell. Or if they're drunk, their signs are going to be all sloshy. I remember some time ago, I was chatting with a woman, and for some reason, I was struggling a little with understanding her signing. I kept misunderstanding a little bit here and there, but it wasn't until later that I realized, oh, she was missing her finger, her ring finger. So I was able to understand her enough, but it was a little tricky. That, I'm sure, is like a hearing person who speaks with a lisp or a stutter. It can be hard to understand, right? A signer might have cerebral palsy or arthritis and struggle to produce the signs. But maybe you're thinking, well, we have this in the hearing world too, though. And that's true, but I think it's important to understand that 40% of deaf people have other disabilities. Sometimes that disability may have caused them to lose their hearing. So there's a significantly higher number of disabled signers, which means a wider variety of signers. And another adaptation that's very common is if someone signs one-handed. For example, if someone's chatting on the phone, they're signing one-handed. This is super common. AI would watch the signing and say, what on earth is that? The signs, shapes, movement, everything changed because you're signing with one hand. So all of these examples show the very normal variances that occur in sign language that may cause AI to struggle. Before we finish this video, I wanted to add a few thoughts. In my last AI video, I had 4 points, and I want to expand on 2 a little bit. First, I talked about accents. I mentioned that each deaf person signing looks very different because their language backgrounds are very different, which means that you might have 2 neighbors. They live in the same area. They've lived close to each other, but they sign completely different. Maybe one grew up with parents who signed and the other grew up with parents who didn't sign and only spoke. Their signing is going to look very different. Imagine if every time you met an English speaker, they had a different accent. Each person had not just a slight difference, but a different, strong accent. Imagine. Second, in my last video, I mentioned how sign language training data for AI is limited. A comparison came to mind that I wanted to show you. AI required a vast amount of data collected to be able to understand English, right? But that data is limited for ASL. Why? Well, most videos online, and I've searched extensively, most videos are either baby sign videos or ASL 101 videos teaching basic signs, like my new YouTube channel here. Anyway, how is AI going to learn sign using only these 2 types of videos? Well, it's like if AI learned English solely using the homework of 5-year-old children, or only learning from non-native English speakers, or only learning English through English 101 or English as a second language class homework. Could AI really learn true English that way? No, obviously. So it's a funny example, but it means that AI needs more fluent signers online. It needs more videos about complex topics. It needs more in-depth teaching videos, not just surface level ASL 101 videos. Did you enjoy this video? Well, remember to check out the first part of this video here, or this video, which YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.